Hi guys, how are you? Long time no see. So, first of all, I really want to thank you for your patience and for your lovely messages and support. I know that I haven't uploaded in a while, but yeah, I just really want to thank you for being so patient with me. And today I want to talk about something that I was hesitating about for a really long time, because I know that Jordan Peterson is a person who is very controversial, and every friend that I've talked about him to in real life kind of has a very strong opinion about them. I actually cannot believe that I haven't heard about him until really recently, and a friend who I actually met through this YouTube channel recommended him to me, which I'm really grateful for. If you don't know what past authoring is and what the self-authoring program is, it's a program online that you can buy for yourself. I think I bought it for $30. Not really much. I think it was like on sale, but it's not that expensive and it's definitely worth it. I will go more into detail. I think that it's anyway way cheaper than seeing a therapist for a while, which I personally think can have the same effect as this thing. So let me explain to you everything in order. So the program consists of 3 parts: past authoring, present and future authoring. And I was really interested more in the future authoring because it's, as far as I understand, I haven't done it yet, but as far as I understand, it's when you plan your nearest future and you paint a picture of what you really want to see. And I have problems with that because I always, when I think about the future, I first of all get really anxious, and second of all, I cannot really imagine what my life will be like in 3 years. It's just beyond my comprehension. But also I believe that unless you know exactly where you're going, you can end up somewhere you don't really want to end up. So I was really excited about that. But I bought the entire 3-part program because there is no future without the past, and unless we have analyzed our past, we cannot really plan into the future. But it's just my train of thought. So, well, shortly, my personal story is that I had many traumatic experiences in my life, that some of them resulted in severe post-traumatic stress disorder, and I used to see a therapist for that. But the thing is that when I was in therapy, which by the way ended like over a year ago, we didn't really go into the experiences per se. So we were dealing more with the problems that I was having in the present, and I had lots of them. And shortly, what post-traumatic stress disorder is you have lots of flashbacks and nightmares, and you are easily startled. Trust me, it's not really pleasant, and you don't want it, and no one really wants it. But if you had some really traumatic, painful experiences, it's pretty common to have post-traumatic stress disorder. So yeah, it is pretty horrible. And after therapy, we kind of addressed, as I said, the things that were bothering me in the present, and it helped a ton. Obviously, I really benefited from therapy a lot. But the thing that kind of bothered me is that we never went into the traumatic experiences themselves, and we never really analyzed them. And I'm not really sure. I asked my therapist about it, and she told me that well, we have to focus on what is bothering you now, because I think that my life was kind of in a big threat back then. And I understand that. And probably back in the time, if we really focused on memorizing, reliving the experiences, probably it would have killed me, or at least made things way worse than they were. So I understand kind of where she was coming from, but I still didn't get till this day why, when I started feeling better, we didn't go back and normalize these experiences. Because in my opinion, post-traumatic stress disorder comes from a place of not understanding why this happened to you. And when you relive it through, it really just goes away in a way. But Anyway, so I was out of therapy for kind of a long time already, and everything was fine, but I still had flashbacks sometimes, and I also had nightmares almost every night. Yeah, it was really bothering me, to be honest, and I kind of started thinking that maybe this is how my life is gonna be forever, and I didn't really like that, but it didn't seem like there is anything I could do about it. And then I stumbled across this program, and I decided to start with the past, obviously, because I realized that unless you deal with the past, you cannot move on into the future. And in the description to this program, it said that it will cause you distress while you're doing it, and you can start feeling worse. But then in a couple of weeks or months, you will definitely see an improvement. And this really resonated with me because I know that this was what happened to me in therapy. I also felt kind of worse for a while before I started feeling better. So I could tell that probably it is true, because if someone tells you, well, there is only benefits to this and you will start immediately feeling great afterwards, I don't really trust that, because there is no really magic pill or anything. But the fact that they give this disclaimer that you might feel worse in the process of doing it really was kind of a selling point to me. So I thought, well, probably there is something to it. And when there is a possibility of self-reflection, I'm always in, because before you analyze yourself and your behaviors, you cannot really move forward. I started doing it, I think, in March. It was really a long time ago, and honestly, writing down the experiences that were haunting me for so many years was painful, although I really already did it once before I went to therapy, because I kind of wanted to write down everything that was wrong with me in my life, and it was a really long list, trust me. But I never wrote positive experiences, so there it was a mix, and it also kind of allowed me to reflect on my past, not only from the perspective of everything was horrible, but also that there were a lot of good things that were kind of overshadowed by the bad things, but still there was a lot of good things as well. Well, what the program consists of, and I think that really the past authoring is something that you can definitely do on your own. I think that the fact that you pay money for it is kind of more of a motivator for you to sort of not give up on it, because you are like, well, I already paid for it, I might as well finish it, because it's not that it's that expensive, but just if you paid for something, you want to take full advantage of it, I think. And this is also what kind of pushes you to continue even when it doesn't feel so good. So when you write this, you just have to write sort of an autobiography about your past, and you have to divide it into 6 epochs, and each of them you can write up to 6 memories there. I think they recommend writing at least 4. Well, it's up to you. You don't have to divide it. If you're, for example, 24 years old, you don't have to divide them like in 4. So if you feel like some part of your life was more intense than the other part, one epoch can be just 1 year, or it can be, for example, like childhood, school, university, like this job, that job, or whatever. It's up to you how you want to divide it. And then, yeah, you have to write 4 to 6 experiences for each epoch. And then after you finish writing them, you are asked to pick the ones that you feel are most important. And I think it's maybe up to 10. I don't really remember. So it's kind of actually a lot. And then they ask you to reflect on them. So how did you feel? Did you feel in control? How did it influence your relationships with other people? How did it influence your ability to trust people and all that sort of thing? Which I didn't know, maybe I didn't read it through properly. So I kind of already reflected on the memory when I was writing the memory. So this last part of really analyzing the most important experiences, I already kind of did for every experience anyway. And also they claim that it takes you about 4 hours to finish this exercise, but in my case, I think it took me in total maybe 10 or even more. I just really went into much detail, and I really spent a lot of time thinking about it, bringing things up from the storages in my memory, and I really remember myself from the age of 2 or 3, so it was a lot of writing. Yeah, and especially in the beginning when I started writing, I really didn't feel that well, and I started having flashbacks again, and I had anxiety attacks, and yeah, it was not that pretty, and I had to take a lot of breaks, and this is why it took me so long. So I had to write and then like take breaks to do breathing exercises and all that. But already, so I think I was really busy in between, so I dealt with part of what was really bothering me, and then I had to take a really long break because I was just super busy at work. And in that time, it kind of settled down already a little bit, and I really stopped having nightmares almost altogether, and I thought that it was a really nice thing. And honestly, so while you're writing and while you're digging up all this crap that was happening to you, you don't really feel that well. I mean, it's pretty obvious, but then almost immediately after, you kind of feel relieved because you just, well, it's out there on the paper or your computer, and it's just a history. It's just a memory. It's just a story that you have told, and it's out there, and you have relieved it in your head while you were writing it, and you understand that it's just part of the past. It's not there anymore. And it really helped me, honestly. I mean, I really started feeling much better, and I stopped having nightmares. I stopped having panic attacks while meditating. I stopped having flashbacks at all. I don't think I've had one nightmare since. And it really just blew my mind how just going back and reflecting on your experiences really helps you understand and really helps you kind of release it, because I believe that as long as you are avoiding something, it is controlling you, and as long as you are trying to run away from something, it will be chasing you for as long as you're running away. So you might as well just face whatever you fear, face whatever makes you uncomfortable, and it just will make your life so much better. So yeah, I can only say good things about this program, and I honestly think that you can just do it on your own. You can divide your life into several parts and write down the most significant experiences that influenced you, that changed you, that traumatized you. Just write it down in really small detail and analyze how it made you feel, how it influenced your behavior in the future, how it influenced your relationship with other people. And of course, I think if you are in a state of distress, or if you are in acute psychological pain, maybe it's not the best idea to do that at that moment, or at least do it with supervision from your therapist. You can also, of course, do it with a therapist, but as I said, it's way cheaper and just more convenient to do it on your own. So yeah, I can only recommend that. And now I'm doing the present authoring, so if you're interested, I can give you some feedback on that after I finish, and also then I will move on to the future. But I don't know how long it will take me, because I really do that maybe half an hour a day and not every day, so it really takes a while for me to finish that. But I also feel that when you have these breaks, it kind of gives you time to settle down. So I wouldn't recommend, by the way, doing it just all in one sitting, one day, because it can first of all overwhelm you, and second, it cannot be as beneficial, because when you take these breaks, you have more time to think about including everything, if you have included everything or if you haven't, and just remember more. So yeah, there is that. I think that this is all that I wanted to share, and I hope that it was interesting for you, and maybe you want to try to do that too. If not, buying this program, which, I mean, I'm not in the position to advertise it, but you can just do it on your own, and I think that self-reflection is just very important for everyone. And yeah, thank you very much for watching, and thank you for being so patient with me again. Please let me know down in the comments if you want me to make a part 2 and part 3 about it, about present and future. And let me know if you heard about it before, if you tried it, if it helped you or not. And just, yeah, see you in the next video. Love you very much. Have a nice week, and be nice humans. Goodbye.